Ja, hi, hier ist Tom von German-Rhymes.de. Heute sitze ich hier. Was? Ist egal, ist egal. Nochmal Tobi, danke trotzdem. Ja, hi, hier ist Tom von German-Rhymes.de. Heute sitze ich hier mit RJD2 und B.Ski am Fußballtisch. 1-0. It's a little pre-World Cup right here. So RJ, how are you doing? I heard you travel a lot by yourself. So how's that going so far?
It's going all right. Yes, I don't travel a lot. Well, I guess I kind of travel out by myself. I do most of my spot dates by myself.
Pretty good.
So
how's the tour so far?
Tour's going great. I think every show has been sold out. So that's good. Hey Beaver, you shouldn't get too aggro because I'm not going to be able to focus on this interview at all. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
He might have a chance while you focus on the interview.
Yeah, the tour's going really good. It's I had a little bit of trepidation going into it because I didn't have the band with me and I wasn't sure if that was like people would care or not. I think in Europe,
when it starts out like with another go, you can put it in your corner and play it from your corner if you want to. Whatever. I'm just saying.
Okay. Duly noted. So, but actually, I think over here, Europe. This might be bad for me to say or admit, but I think people actually would rather.
See without the band?
Yeah.
I see.
And it's you know, I've had that experience before in the States. Remember aggro thing?
Yeah,
remember?
No, okay.
Okay. You got an aggro face going on, so you know.
No, that's not aggro.
It's the focus face.
I just listened to the interview.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
See, there you go. You're catching up right there.
So yeah, the tour's going great. You know, I couldn't be happier. Turnout's been great. People are, you know.
So how do you get around? You fly, drive? Or?
Mostly train. For the first 4 days, I was on train. So I've only had one flight. Man, it's really like, it's just worked out so perfectly.
I mean, but like with the luggage and all that stuff?
No, this is what I'm saying. Let me tell you why it's worked out more perfectly than you can possibly imagine is. For one, I was on trains for the first week, and it was amazingly... I have 3 pieces of luggage. You know, I have the MPC and a bunch of cables, and then my merch and my clothing is another 3. These 2 big roller luggages, and then records, and a computer bag. I weighed it before I left. It's about 175 pounds worth of gear. And
By yourself?
By myself.
Wow.
So... You know, getting on and off the trains at first was a little tough, but then I got the hang of it, and at least I was on trains, and it's a lot easier than flying. So that was fine, and then I only have 1 day off on this tour, and it was on Monday, and my flight was on Monday. I was supposed to fly to Hamburg, and I went to the airport. My flight was supposed to be, you know, it said it was departing on time and everything. Go to the airport, and like 20 minutes before the flight takes off. I mean, like at the time that it was boarding, I was already through security. You know, I had my luggage checked in. I had paid, you know, like 44 pounds in luggage overage weight. You know. So whatever, not as bad as it could have been. You know, I talked them down from like 175 pounds. Yeah. So that's another story. So they canceled the flight right at the last minute, send me home. But here's why it worked out so perfectly is that they pay for your hotel and your food if you're in England and your flight gets canceled from the volcano. So they give me a hotel, they give me free dinner, free breakfast, travel, bus, you know, vouchers to and from the hotel to the airport. And that was the only night that I was actually gonna have to pay for my own hotel.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I say it couldn't have worked out. And to boot, So I get my refund for the this is pitiful. This is my life. This is how sad. This is the sad decrepit world of RJD2, a professional touring musician. They refund me the luggage overage, and then I was hip to the game. I was like, okay, I left a little bit of weight. I left my cable bag in the checked-in luggage. So I was like, this time I cram all the heavy shit into my roller record, because what I do is I'll check the 2 luggage things in, and then I get 1 carry-on and 1 personal item. My personal item is my computer backpack, which weighs like 40 pounds. If they ever weighed it, they would be like, what the fuck are you doing? And my record bag is like 45 pounds. So I chucked all my cables and everything just to the brim, just bursting at the seams in there. And I cruised through for free. 0, goose egg.
Nice.
Nothing at all. Because I got the woman, because I knew they were going to pull that the next day, so I had the woman print off a sheet saying that, because I'm a Gold Alliance member, I've like flown enough with US Air now that I have this free gold. So, but they're part of the Star Alliance, so any Star Alliance network or whatever airline accepts it. So, you know, I had her print off a thing saying that, you know, you're a Gold Alliance member, so you get an allowance. And so when I had that printout, and I just handed it to the check-in lady, and she was just like, go. So couldn't have worked out better.
That's good to hear.
He's the most organized person I know. He knows how to do everything.
It's good for him, though.
About his socks. He's got the socks down
So,
to an exact
yeah.
size.
So now personal. What about the socks?
I don't know what socks. What was the socks?
Organized, man. This dude is organized. He is. He is organized. Like the first time I ever went to this guy's house, you could see how he makes amazing beats by his record collection. I have no idea how they were organized. I think you told me literally they were organized by sounds.
Oh yeah, I used
By
to have
sound.
catalogs that would be like drums, strings, guitar, organ, bass, spoken word, comedy, so on and so forth.
Is that your German side?
I have German heritage. My mom
That's what I'm
was.
saying. Is that the German side?
Yeah.
Keeps you organized?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, my mom was born in Frankfurt, so I'm.
But organized in by sounds? By sounds? Yeah. It's amazing. What would you do if a record had like multiple sounds on it? Would you go by the best sound?
This is why I abandoned that sorting, that categorizing, the cataloging method, because it wasn't. That was the problem, is that you would like, if there was like a really great string passage on a record and like an okay drum break record, it would go in the strings. But then I'd have to remember that there was this drum break.
Did you ever put post-it notes on certain records?
That's what I switched over to.
Oh,
It's
now
just,
you got the post-it note.
now I go to post-it note, and it's time sensitive is what I do. I do like side 1, there's this, side 2, there's that. And even now,
catalog all your records for samples.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because all the records that I buy for samples, because I buy records for 2 reasons. You know, one for sample fodder, and then the other reason I would buy records is just for listening. And those I actually have an office space where I do all my like instrument repair and my office work and stuff, and I just chuck the records up there. I've got a record player. That's like my listening sanctuary, if you will. And then the sample records go down in the basement. And those I do with post-it notes, like you were saying. And you just write what's there.
Yeah.
Buy them twice or 3 times.
I'm not. They're totally different things. I'm buying the stuff I buy to listen.
Yeah, I know. But
It's
I
not-
mean, like when you sample, you could like get more.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you went back to your old order.
Yeah,
Is
precisely.
there anyone that you would never sample?
Oh, there's huge lists of people that I would.
Like, who won't you sample?
Well, like anything that would like blatantly, obviously get me
No, not
to be
about
like
getting
illegal.
sued. I mean, is there any like spiritual?
Oh, like moral.
I'm getting a call, man. I don't know who it is. Should I answer it?
I don't know. Is it your?
Hello.
It's your interview.
You're taking up RJD2's time right now.
Tell them to hang up.
You're taking up RJ's time. Who is this? Vince, what's up? Okay. Vince is on the line. No, but RJ, I'm beating him at 2-1 at Kickern.
Yeah, but let's talk about your record. Your record that came out in January, and I heard a lot of people said this is like different from the stuff you've done before, and some people don't like it, some people do like it, because I actually listen to it a lot, and I think it's in some ways similar to your earlier records, and it's different though on both sides. So, but how do you think for yourself? Like, I think it's more rock influenced. I would say, like rock music.
I guess. I mean, coming off of the Third Hand, that was kind of like what everybody seemed to say about that record. Was, oh, that's your rock record or whatever. I don't know. I think that you're the first person that I've heard that say that they think it's a rock.
I mean, it's like more rock funky. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like it's a mix. I would say.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I think of it less in terms of aesthetic and genre specific terms as I do in, I guess you'd say, you know, mood terms or whatever. And also, you know, at this point, I'm kind of assuming that most of the people that hear my records are familiar with what I do, so there's a contextual basis to making records for me now, in the sense that, you know, I feel like it's going to be, and it should be, right? You know, I intend it to be, to work, I intend all of the records that I make to work as a catalog. So they're all together, you know, supposed to provide special, kind of a special place or whatever, you know, if you will, amongst each other. This is the first record that I've done that was kind of, every record that I did before this was, sort of the point of it was to incorporate as much, to be as forward-looking as possible, and to challenge myself and to bring in as much new sounds and techniques and writing approaches as possible. And this is the first record that I've done that was looking forward as well as backward, in a way. It was the first time that I kind of looked back on the styles of production that I had done, and for whatever reason, it just didn't seem right to. It was almost like I had occupied a number of different places on the chessboard, if you will, and it was time to kind of look back at those things and touch on them with, you know, a modern eye, or a current eye, if you will.
So, could you say it's like kind of a reissue of yourself?
Yeah, or kind of like almost like an overview of the different styles of production that I've done over the last, you know, 8 or 10 years or so.
Talking about that, it says on a record, the English guy says like this might be my last record. Yeah. What's up with that? Oh
well, you never know, you know. I mean, this could be our last day on Earth, you know. So, in which case, obviously, that would be my last record. You know, you never know what's gonna. And not that I'm not planning it out. I'm just saying.
All right, I'm just asking that.
Merely, you know, by saying that, and that was like a little script that I wrote out for, you know, somebody to a British friend of mine to read. Merely acknowledging that, you know, you never know what, you know.
And you said in B.Ski's interview, you were talking about that, and he was talking about that you're like a workaholic and you do a lot of stuff when you're on tour, when you come home, constantly working. So is there any plans for the new record out there? Because like he was saying, like you worked, when you put out the album, you just worked on another one and showed him the beats and stuff.
Yeah. There's, I've got a fair amount of things recorded. There is. How much extra stuff do you make when you make an album? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's your catalog like? You know. It gets more and more every album that I did. Like Dead Ringer, there was only 2 songs really from that era that I recorded that didn't wind up on that record, and they ended up on that Your Face or Your Kneecaps mix CD that I did. A lot of that stuff was from the previous time as well, right? Well, Dead Ringer was, yeah. It was a slow working you know what I mean? I was working on Dead Ringer really from 97 or 8. Really, maybe not that early, but you know, like I say, 99 to 2001 ish was, and then it got more and more was done closer to the record. But yeah, in terms of how much stuff I record that doesn't make it onto a record, that gets more and more and more. So with Dead Ringer, there was, you know, less than 10% of, you know, overage or extra songs recorded. And since we last spoke, there was more than that. And then by the time I did the third hand, there was a lot. There was, I think I had 25 or 30 songs cut for that record. And then with this record, I really recorded a lot of music over, because right when I finished, pretty much right when I finished the tour for Third Hand in 2007, I went right into recording. And from then until really, I'd say last month was the last, I was really putting the finishing touches on things. So I've got a lot of things recorded. I've got, here's what's coming up.
You have will make the next project.
Oh yeah. This is leading to what I have. What I've this rampage of recording I've been on. What's completed is in June next month, June 22nd. The next record comes out on the label. It's called Inversions of the Colossus. It's 7 new songs, and then the 7 vocal songs from the Colossus appear as instrumentals. So it's 14 songs. Half new record, half instrumental version of the Colossus, if that makes sense.
So about the singing part, because you kind of sang too, right, on this record, or was it just on the old one?
Yeah, I sang. And that was kind of the point with the Colossus, that the point of the record was to, utilize these things, but not lean on them so heavily. So, there's 3 songs on this record that I sing, and then there's 3 songs that are guest vocalists.
But are you like kind of, did you learn how to sing somewhere, or did you just did it naturally?
It is, over time. I mean, really, the first time I sang on record was Since We Last Spoke in 2004. There was 2 songs on that. Actually, there's a couple, more than that. But it really, in terms of like things that play like songs. So there were several songs on that record, and that started in 2002 or 2003.
But everybody else sees you more like a DJ. So how's it then when you go into studio with like a guest vocalist or some sort of, and how's that for you?
Well, those things are all songs that I wrote and presented with the Colossus. Those are songs that I had written and demoed and presented to these guys. Like, hey, do you want to execute this? Do you want to sing this song?
But don't you feel
a collaborative writing thing?
The lyrics you wrote too. Okay, so you just presented
lyrics and melodies, harmonies, everything. Like Games You Can Win, all those harmony parts. There's a version of that. When I wrote that song, there's a version of that that's me singing all those harmony parts and all the songs on the record. There's completed versions of me singing them. But the way that I would
How do you write harmonies, with piano or just in your head what you hear, or you just
I think both is.
Take singing lessons?
No, I thought about it, but there's 2 questions there. So one of them is that the harmony thing is sometimes you do it by like mathematics. You look at thirds and fifths and try to build it like you're building a chord. And then there's other times where you want to just kind of use intuition. Like in Games You Can Win, in the chorus, there's a line that's just the unison. In essence, that's all it is. That's one of the harmonies. It's just the tonic of the key, and it just stays there. And those are the kind of things that sometimes you wouldn't sit down at a piano and say, I should hit the same note over and over and over. But if you were singing, you're mapping out harmonies yourself in a vocal booth. That's the kind of thing that you might stumble upon and realize, hey, this really works and it helps the song. So I'm trying now to do both. In fact, what I want to do is completely abandon the conscious thinking out. Because what can happen if you abandon that if you really can dedicate yourself to it, is you can end up, in essence, writing just counter melodies. Things that, phrase-wise, they fall, you're saying the same words, and phrase-wise, they're falling in the same place. But melodically, they don't have anything to do with each other other than they really are true counter melodies. They're just in the same key, you know what I mean? And those, you can get the coolest results out of. Singing lessons, no. I looked into singing lessons, and I asked around, and everybody that I talked to that was like a singer that I really looked up to, that came out of kind of like an R&B or gospel or church or whatever pedigree, was like, nah, man, you just got to keep doing it. Yeah. It's just practice, is what it is.
What about music lessons? You taking any instrument lessons?
I went to school in high school, so I went to a vocational music school. So it gave me a basis of just understanding music theory, composition, things like that. So those tools I already had before I even started getting involved in hip hop music, and have proved to be very useful.
mean, like I was talking about the guest vocalists on your album. How's it? Because you recorded all the songs. How's it for you, for yourself, when you recorded the song? How did you decide? Oh, yeah, this one is this song, or I would like him to do this song. How's that? Don't you like doing the songs yourself? Or? How's that?
Well, something changed after the third hand, and a big part of there's a lot of different methodologies about how I went about this record compared to the third hand. And one of the big ones was that for the third hand, I went into that record with the intent of that record was, let me just see how far. It wasn't shooting for a particular goal. It was using the resources I had and seeing how far I could get. And so the point of it was, you know, I was writing the vocal parts for things that I could execute. I was changing, you know, I was in essence writing for my ability. And then with the Colossus, it was completely different. You know, at that point I'd kind of abandoned that, and I was really trying to write the song, let the song just unfold the way that it seemed like it wanted to be. And once it gained momentum, this is something that I firmly believed in, and I've had this experience ever since I've done music, is, you know, if you can let something, if you can end up following your intuition and not thinking things through and not using your brain, you can come up with some really special things. And so this applied, you know, one of the things that I was trying to do with this record was to just let the song unfold the way that it wanted to be. And if I sounded okay singing it, then it would, you know, then that would be that, and I'd let it sit. And if not, if I wasn't happy with it, then I would look for someone to execute it in a manner in which I thought it should be done. But I wasn't going to change the, you know, the writing, so to speak.
I see. And the record is like the first on your own label. How's that working out for you, being on yourself, by yourself?
I don't know. I'll know next year, really. At this point, you know, I'm knock on wood. Hopefully, it turns out well. I'm at the stage now where it's like there's just enormous physical manufacturing expenses being incurred. So I'm like way in the hole right now in terms of the record. So hopefully that'll change.
I'll buy a copy.
I appreciate that. I don't have any left, unfortunately. I had like 10. Yeah, you're off the hook.
So good.
You're
I'm just sold out completely.
Well, I brought 10 copies of it.
10 copies. Why didn't you bring copies? I mean, I guess because you're by yourself.
By myself, I got 175 pounds of gear.
Just go in the store and take it.
You're like, dude, why don't you have vinyl, man? What the fuck? I wanted vinyl. It's like, well, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow.
Are you manufacturing vinyl too?
Oh yeah.
So
I think that's part of the reason that the physical manufacturing expenses were so high up front, was that, you know, we did vinyl and CD. So we'll see. Point being, I mean, either way, however it shakes out, as long as it breaks even. I've got a lot of money to make back that I spent making the record, but as long as the record breaks even, I'm happy with the decision, because a big part of it for me was owning my own recordings, you know, especially this record, something that I worked so hard on, was so dear to me. You know, owning the record in 10, 20, 30 years was a big priority.
So being on a label, is it only you on a label, or up to now? So is it going to change in the future, or do you just...
We'll see. If I can figure out a way to make it, you know, I mean, I have to figure out a way to make it profitable with, you know, just for me. And then if it expands out, then I'm not opposed to it. I didn't get into this thing to be an A&R, you know. I'd rather go score movies or do freelance work or work for hire, you know. But I'm not opposed to it, you know what I mean? If there's some way that, you know, what I think is difficult is that we're at a crossroads in the music industry where, you know, the old paradigm of how record contracts worked, it just doesn't make any sense now. So, you know, from my perspective, for labels to continue going about, you know, signing artists and putting out records and stuff, a new paradigm is going to have to surface.
So okay, let's talk about the show tonight. Because like you said earlier that you don't travel with a band and stuff. And how's that gonna affect the show? Is it gonna, like, what's gonna be different from the other shows you did?
Well, when I tour with a band, about a third of the show is just me by myself on the turntables and sampler. So it's basically just that expanded out to about 75 minutes, is what you know, I'm doing now. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't feel bad about it anymore, you know, because or bad is not the right word, but I don't have any trepidation about people being happy with it, because, well, for one, the crowds are going apeshit at all the shows, and two, that's what a lot of people expect from me, you know, and that's, yeah, they see me as a DJ or a producer, and that's fine, you know, and I am, you know what I mean, it is what I am. I happen to do these other things, and I'm not, like, high enough on my horse enough to be like, oh, well, you need to accept me as an engineer and a mixer and a blah, 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 as much as a DJ, and, you know, screw that, you know? So, yeah.
It's good to hear. All right, RJ, thanks for taking the time talking to us. B.Ski, thanks for hosting us. Okay, finish the game up. Okay.
YouTube video, right?
Peace out, guys.